welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Rye and this is Rye's Reading Corner. And today I'm going over with you 6 books that I should have DNF'd. Hello, I'm Rye and this is Rye's Reading Corner. If this is the first time you're seeing my face, if you've not yet hit the subscribe button, please do so. It's super easy and it really helps my channel grow. So as you can tell by my thumbnail and my little introduction, today I'm going to be sharing with you books that I finished but should have DNF'd. So this idea is not original. I first saw Mel do this video and I of course asked her if she was okay if I did it, and she said of course. So I've been wanting to do this video, and the most recent book that I finished, which I should have DNF'd, kind of inspired me to do it at this point in time. If my camera angle has changed, I apologize. My phone died. So I do want to give a disclaimer. I know I shouldn't have to, but I'm still going to give it. Obviously, these are just strictly my opinions. Not necessarily anything means that there's something wrong with the book. It just wasn't the book for me, and that's what's so great about reading, is that there's something out there for everyone, but you're not gonna like everything that you read because that's just not possible. So as I said, these are just strictly my opinions. So the first book that I finished that I should have DNF'd, I gave it 1 star, and it is Hide by Kirsten White. This is a new release adult horror story, and I wish I DNF'd this book. So I started this as a buddy read with Michelle from Michelle's library, and she ended up DNFing it after 120 pages. She wasn't loving it, and then she was like in the chat on a live show, and every single person there was telling her to DNF it. So for a couple things I did not like about this book is that, one, there are so many characters in this story that it's super hard to follow, and all these characters kind of have these complex backgrounds, but nothing is really dived or divulged into it. So you kind of scratch the surface and it gets really confusing at times. And then for some reason they decided to name 2 characters the name Ava, and I really don't see the purpose of it, and I don't think that was just kind of a random weird decision to make. Also, nothing really happens for a majority of the book. So up to 120 pages where Michelle DNF'd it, literally nothing happened, and the chapters were super repetitive, and I just was super bored the entire time, and I wish I DNF'd this. I did end up finishing on audio just because I wanted to get it done, and the audio wasn't great either. I honestly don't even really know like what the point of the story was. The concept was really cool, which was why I continued reading it. Also, this month I have already DNF'd 2 books, and so I just wanted to finish something, so I felt like I was reading a lot but not finishing anything, so I was getting kind of frustrated. So that is why I finished Hide, but I should have DNF'd it. I'm definitely contemplating though on keeping it because the inside flaps of this book are absolutely gorgeous, but I feel like it would be a waste of space on my shelf, but I paid so much money for it and I'm kind of sad that I didn't like this one. The next one I should have DNF'd is 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. So Peter Swanson has been a hit or miss author for me, and this one I read maybe last month, and I honestly could not even tell you anything what happens in the story. Pretty much it's about people are being killed off this list, and this list has arrived at your house. The story was super boring, not memorable because I really don't remember anything about it, and I read it a month ago, and for me, a thriller I should not forget about. Like, some of my favorite thrillers have stuck with me even over the course of a year, and I feel like I cannot even remember this after a month. So reasons I did not DNF this is because it was a gift for my birthday. I think I still have the book because it was a birthday gift, but I gave this one 2 stars, and I think I was being pretty generous. It was just so boring, and I should never say a thriller is boring. The next book I should have DNF'd was, I think, my worst book, or one of my worst books of last year, and that was The Project by Courtney Summers. This book I felt like disappointed a lot of people. It was kind of pitched as this cult book, which sounds really interesting. Cult itself really intrigued me, but this book was so boring and there was really nothing about cults, and that made me really sad. And I honestly, kind of like what I said before, I couldn't really even tell you much about this. There's like a sister relationship, and I thought more would happen in like the actual cult. The plot doesn't really follow the cult line very much, and so that was a big disappointment for me. I think I gave this one 1 or 2 stars. I should have DNF'd, and also I definitely was not as willing to DNF books when I read this one. But yeah, I should have DNF'd it. This book was boring. Cults should not be boring, bottom line. The next book I should have DNF'd, number 4, and these are in no particular order, I should have said that at the beginning, is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is another thriller. I'm seeing a pattern here, I feel like, which makes me really sad because I really do like reading thriller and horror books. But this is a thriller novel that came out maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago almost, and it made my worst list of that year. And it is a story about a group of friends and family that are on this island for a wedding, and I did not like this book. I think I gave it 1 or 2 stars. Should have DNF'd it. There were so many characters, and for me, part of this is the premise premise or the plot device that they use is just not one that I care for in thriller novel, when like right off first part of the page you know that someone has been killed, and I just don't like that. Like everyone's a suspect. And for this one, I did not like any one of the characters. I did not like or root for any one of them, and I like an unlikable character. Like I can still find some redeeming qualities or something that I want to root for them, and there was not one. I did not like any of these characters. I found the story to be really boring, and I found the characters to be super annoying, and I don't like that in my stories. So this one I really did not like, and I feel like this is a very polarizing book. I feel like people either really disliked the guest list or absolutely loved it. Now, I've not read anything else by this author. I did buy The Paris Apartment, but people are telling me I should unhaul it before I read it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think, if that's the case, what you think. However, I don't know. I kind of want to give it a try, but am I setting myself up to be making another one of these videos and including The Paris Apartment? Now, the next one, book number 5, is The Mist by Stephen K. I rant about this book all of the time. There's decision that happens in this book that I dislike so much. So I give this one a 1 star, I believe. And the premise is there's like this mist that's like overtaking this town, and this son and father get stuck in a grocery store, and they are with a bunch of other people, and they're trying to survive and not be taken by the mist. So honestly, I didn't mind it for majority of it, and it's super short. It's a novella, which is part of the reason why I didn't DNF it. Also, I was using this for a readathon, and I think it was a 48-hour one, but there's a decision that is made that is super pointless and literally made me so angry with why this book is on here. I should have just stopped reading it right after I read that scene, but I didn't, and that was a big mistake of mine. So yes, absolutely hated this book with every passion in my body. And the last book that I should have DNF'd is Bunny by Mona Awad. Now, this is another book that I think people either love or people absolutely despise this book, and I don't know if I despise it like as much, as I feel like I could see why people would really like this book because it is so odd, but for me, I just didn't enjoy it. So I actually had started this book before I DNF'd it, and then I came back to it and finished it. Part of the reason why I wanted to finish this book is because I feel like so many people talk about this book and how odd it is, and I wanted to see for myself kind of what it's all about, and also it was a gift, so I felt pretty responsible to finish this book. However, I did not like it. This book is so odd. Like to this day, I still don't understand what I read, and I feel like I would have to read it for a 3rd time to maybe even get a grasp on what the author was trying to come across with this story. For me, I don't enjoy really out there stories. Like I don't want to have to think too hard while I'm reading, because for me, reading is like the time to relax, and I had to like really think and read that book, and it was not understandable to me. So that's why I didn't like that book, but again, I understand why people would really value that book. So these are 6 books that I read that I wish I DNF'd. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with these books. These were books that were not for me, so please don't come at me for that. So let me know down in the comments below, what is a book that you've read that you probably should have DNF'd at some point. So if you want to take this crazy and chaotic journey with me, please make sure you press that subscribe button. If you're my friend on any of my other social media platforms, I do have my own Patreon, and so my link to my Patreon is down below. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And yeah, so thanks loves, and I'll see you next time. Bye!